Okay, guys, there's another little thing I've got to throw in here and mention. The Kriesler Radio was actually given to me
by Matt,
not Chris. So, sorry,
Matt.
You are a subscriber, I see, and I was dealing with a phone call with Chris before I mentioned it. So this radio was donated by Brad from a little town called Blaney in New South Wales. So thanks, Brad. She's going to be well and truly worth it.
Kriesler, my next Kriesler. We're going to see what we can do with this fella to bring him right back to new. I think he will come up fairly well. His case has got a few paint spots on it, so forth, but I mean, that's nothing. We can polish that out. Missing one knob. I may have one. I may have to rely on someone out there that's got one of these that we could get hold of, or maybe eBay. And this cable, well, 2-core, it has to go. So, the back of him, very nice. Been very well kept, looked after. The case on this is going to come up really good. I just think that it will make a very good restoration. Okay, there's our aerial wire. I don't think we need that fellow anymore. I think I'll find a little bit better wire than that, and maybe put him on a cotton spool or something like that, which is a little bit better than it going everywhere with that. Oh, I don't know. I don't want to start this up at the moment with a dim bulb. I'm not going to use that power cord anyway. I'll be putting on another cord to power this up. First things first, and make it easier. Power cord's gone. Destined for the bin, that fella. What I also have here at the moment is another camera that makes, we'll just switch over to him, and it might make it a little bit easier for our shots up the top here. So thought it might make it a little bit more interesting. Got something rattling in there. There's always a possibility that some of these might have been pushed in. Wouldn't that be good? And they're inside somewhere. But anyway, I guess, now, as I've said before on the last video, this is an 11-20. There it is there, 11-20. So let's take the bottom off. Let's get a bit more light on it, so I don't get some dark shadows. Probably would be a good idea. But now we've got reflection, so yeah, you can't win. Anyway, the reflection will soon disappear, I reckon, when we take the bottom off. Something fell down there. Okay. There's the bottom. Everything that's written on it. Okay. And there she is. I think we've got originals. We've got a heap of waxies, which is a good sign. Good for restoration. Got a power cord that I can pull out there. Now, if it's like all other Chryslers, yes, 4 screws, one there somewhere. We'll get the front screws out. Good old brass screws. Look at that. Okay. We'll go to this one. Ah, okay. There he is. Down in there. Tip him upside down. Very carefully. Something's amiss in there somewhere. Probably the screw I took out. Ah, well, look here. Some of the grill is falling out. I don't want to squash him. Well, that's a big challenge in itself that's eliminated. There we go. Grill cloth. Looks a bit how you going. Some up the back there as well. So the back of the radio's there. And of course, that other piece is the front. I think it needs a new bit of grill cloth, really. I think that would... Looky here. And we have another piece. I suspect nearly all that is in there. Haven't seen any more pieces fall out at the moment. Now, dial. There's our... I see the first thing there is our dial cord. Oh, and we have another piece of the front. Look at that. Okay. This is separate to the actual tuning gang cord. So I'll release him. Goes over here. Around that little fella there. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to flip my picture over. Okay, that's a bit better for you guys. I've flipped him over. May also move this camera over a little bit here. Right. Now, where were we? We're getting this out. And there we go. Springs out. So your dial, your tuning actually works. A little bit tight. No, he doesn't. And there's the broken cord for him. RF, ECH35. The mixer detector 6B8G or a 6G8G, one or the other. The audio output is an EL33A and the rectifier is a 665 GT. Now, looking at the top, the dial glass, we've got a spider, but he's very dead. Very clean, but very grotty around the edges. Very similar setup to the other radio, the other Kriesler I did, where the clamps the glass with it looks like a rubber insert there, but boy, it's hard. Okay, let's have a look here. There's your ECH, your RF, 2 AF cans to the audio output. All this looks like it could have had quite a bit of age on it. There's a lot of crud and that in there. There we go. Audio transformer is in there, mounted on your speaker. These wires seem okay. The grid wires for the 2 valves, they've actually softer. The lamps, dial lamps, they've had some hours on them. Actually, the tuning gang, not too bad. Yep, that works okay. Doesn't appear to be touching or anything like that. So there he is. I'd like to get this out of the road here. I suspect we could possibly get the dim bulb onto this and get him working. Now, I'll just have a look here at what we've got. Band switch, yes, band switching. Medium wave, short wave. We have tuning, which is hard to turn. Certainly needs some work. This fellow, standard 3-position switch for tone and on-off volume. Hopefully, the on-off pot actually works. That would be good. Now here I'm going to, we're going to cut this and probably do a bit of a Shango type connection to put this on our dim bulb, and we're going to fire it up. We're going to see, does this old girl actually work? So there's another look inside. Oh, cap there been a bit of a problem on the end of him. He's he's not real good. That other camera doesn't focus real well, so yeah, I will be returning to me good camera there very shortly. I can't see anything else that's suspect at the moment. A few little spider webs there, but nothing terribly drastic. Nothing drastic there. I will put a meter over it and see, make sure we've got no shorts to earth or anything like that. Okay. Ground, nothing. 0 ohms. So that's what we want. Right, guys, there's another look at the whole thing. Now, we put our meter across the transformer. I have the power switch on. It should be up for, I don't know, 50 to 80 ohms, something like that. Don't actually like the I don't actually like the look of that. Seems as though we've got a dicky on-off switch here. So we might go in after the on-off switch. So I'll go to there. There we go. Okay, guys, got the dim bulb set up. Means he's on, and he is on dim, not bypass. It's number 1, which is a 42-watt lamp. Death cord. Don't try this at home, kids. Yeah, if you do, don't show your mother. So I've just got that onto the power cord. At the moment, we're sitting on 0 volts on the Variac. We'll take him up to 80 volts. It's on. Turn him on. Nothing yet. We'll take him up to 110. Drawing 5 watts. Okay. We'll take him up to 150. Let's see how many watts we've got. Dim bulb, just. We're drawing 9 watts there. 153 volts. 7 volts. 7 watts rather, which is probably not enough to get this old girl working. So, okay, no big dramas so far. Take it up to 200. Dim bulb, come on, and he's fading away. 12 watts. 204 volts. No lights here, of course. Oh, yes, we do. Do have a light. We don't have any noise yet. Still nothing. Still nothing. We have a click in the speaker. That's the tone control. We don't have anything else at the moment. Dim bulb, slightly lit, drawing 14 watts. Let's go up to our 240, 19 watts, 20 watts, still no talkies. But we do have a click. Okay. That's the grid of the detector. Nothing. Wriggle our valve around a little bit there. So we're sitting on 20 watts at 240 volts, which is our Australian voltage. Actually, it's 230, so we could actually back it off to 230 volts, 19.25, 19.1, 19 watts, which is around about normal. The 6X5 is hot, the big fella. The audio out he's warm. Can't tell with the other guys. Now, I'll just see if we've got any sort of... There's no activity there at all on the grid of our detector. But we don't seem to have audio either. Our speaker's not in real good condition, but should still work. Okay, well, at least it's drawing, as you can see there, about the right amount of current. That's fairly dim. It's actually showing fairly bright in the camera. But all we can get is a click, which would be engaging, disengaging a cap to ground from the plate of our output tube. Probably a 0.2 or something. I'm not sure. Now we do also, with this one, have a circuit. So I'll give you guys, if you want to take a screenshot, that's what we're looking at the moment. I will put a schematic up there fairly shortly, and we can work our way through it. So that's what we're dealing with. And let's see what we've got on the volume control, which is here. Volume, nothing. So we've got no audio. There is no audio. So, which is that fella in there. We've got to take some voltages around there. See what the HT is. So, yeah, we'll do all this. Okay, that's it for just at the moment until I get some more gear set up. So he's not quite operational yet. But anyway, we'll get there with him. Now, to make things a little bit easier to work on, I'm going to remove the dial glass, the top bit here, get rid of the string and the pointer and so forth. So these should unclip like so. They do have a little bit of rubber in there. That rubber has seen better days. Take the pilot lamps out. Also, that's, yeah, he's had quite a bit of use. Now this pilot lamp on this side has a little cover, and I'd say that cover is actually made of some sort of fibre, and it's nothing on the other side, but this one's certainly burnt. Okay, there he is. Lovely. A little bit of crusty rubber on there. And he'll come up just like new. Now, we've got our string of dial lamps. Probably put a little bit of tape around them and just to keep them out of the road. 2 screws here, and we can probably lift our pointer off, and that's our dial string, which in turn goes with this piece. Keep them together so I can get an approximate length for it to restring. Same with this. This is the tuning gang cord. So once again, keep them separate so I can get a length for him. Now I think if I take these 2 screws out, I think this whole assembly here comes off. Once again, come on guys, help me out here. This furry stuff that was sprayed on there, it's what is it? Can we replicate that these days? I haven't seen anything like it. I don't know whether it's sprayed on or it's some sort of very, very thin felt finish. But yeah, if someone knows, leave it in the comments. I'd just like to know if it's possible to replicate that. These death cables always worry me when they're hanging around, so a quick exercise to get things going can lead to a bit of unpleasantness. Okay, we'll undo this. These are all self-tap, so he's off. Certainly dried grease along that fella. Very, very dry. Yeah. So that's probably broken the string in the first place. Now, as I can see, this is all part of the front. So now I'm going to close the gang. Going to take some pictures of where the gang is when it's closed. A good idea when you're doing these. Screw there, 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 and the front comes off. Got to take the knobs off, but this front assembly comes off, obviously with the speaker as well, and with our tuning gang drum is actually a Bakelite, so we don't want to be stressing in too much. Very good condition, and once again, very good condition. So I need another knob, just like that one, fairly thin, Kriesler. So if anyone knows, if there's some on eBay that I haven't seen or somewhere else, leave it in the comments and we'll see what we can find. These little pulleys, quite free, not too bad. Gently, very gently. There he is. Very unusual. Well, not unusual, but yeah, it's not common to see a Bakelite drum. Most are pressed metal. So now we'll take out that, and I think that removes everything. I think the tuning spindle actually comes off the front, and I think all these are self-tap screws. I don't think this radio's ever been touched by the look of it. Anyway, you can see some dirt and dust and horrible things behind this cover. Transformer has been pretty hot, I think. He might be roasted inside. And he's very, very loose. So I don't know. I don't know what's happened here. Maybe another transformer. And this is the primary, guys. This comes from the supply to the plate of our L33. Right. That's what we're looking at. And I think that transformer has been pretty warm. The other thing is, it doesn't look real good, does it? Sure what's going on with this. Anyway, first of all, with this, first thing we do, check the continuity here and see if we've got open circuit. I don't think we have open circuit because we did have noise. Well, we did have a clicking sound. We have 265 ohm, which is around about right. So maybe it's just been very, very hot, and he could have lost some small chocks or something like that in there to keep that in place. But he does measure okay. That is good. Unlike the speaker. The speaker's not real crash hot. Don't know what we can do with that. Actually, it feels not too bad. There's that area there which we could teabag up and dope and put some insulation, liquid insulation tape across there. A couple of holes here. Yeah. And he actually feels not too bad. But there's a hole there, there's cracks around it. But we may be able to resurrect that. We'll see. I suppose the best thing is to take the speaker out and see what we can do with it. Go. Right. That's good. So we can work on the plate, do things. That is, can you see that? That is really nifty. To think that is written on there. We're going to have to find a way of preserving that, but we probably won't repaint this area of it. I don't know what to do here. Normally that is a reddish colour and, well, it's certainly faded to a very light brown, so I don't know. This underside is quite good, actually. We've got to do the tuning spindle. He's very dry, hard. Yeah, so probably not a repaint on this one. I don't want to lose nuts and P, lose our information there. Okay, speaker, well, there he is. We're not sure whether that's original. We'll dust off a little bit of dirt off here and see what the go is here. I don't know whether this is original or not. That's what we got written on him. Is it 23-F9, which means nothing. 23F9. There we go. That is the original transformer from that speaker. Well, there you go. And as you can see, it's a roller speaker. We'll probably do something with this, and I think our transformer will be okay. Our valve, has he got markings on him? Made in Great Britain, and we have got an EL33. And I'd say a lot of hours on that fella, but he may clean up a little bit better too. A resistor there, which is possibly part of the power supply. We've got a resistor here that runs off the B plus there. It's this fella, R176, possibly R176. Could be 179, could be any one of these fellas here. So what do we got? We got one here. That's 30k, 50k, 15k, 500k, 1 meg, 35 ohm. Carbon. Wire wound. Here we go. It's 176, 1500, 8 watt, wire wound. 176. Now, 176 is that fella there. So obviously comes out of the supply. There's your filter cap there going back to the centre of the tranny, and your bias arrangement here for your tubes. So B plus out through this monster resistor up here to your speaker where you have a cap to ground, which may have failed to heat this fella up, maybe. And things we'll be looking at will be certainly that capacitor, C27, but obviously all the waxies will have to be replaced. Comes from over here. That's just your grid supply to your output. So hopefully it hasn't destroyed the output or something like that. But anyway, there's a brief rundown. So that's what that big fella is. He's a monster for I think it says here. Where are we? Down here. 1500. There he is. 8 watt. He's a monster for 8 watt. But there he is. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave this now until in the morning. It's getting later in the afternoon, and it's time to go in and maybe have a small drink of wine after doing this fella. The chassis rather, will certainly clean up nicely. You've only got to brush that, and it's clean. But I want to take some photos before we go too far. Tuning gang, very nice. As for the chassis, there we go. Pretty ordinary. That big resistor looks like he's been pretty hot, but then again, it's 8 watts, so it probably does run fairly warm. But that's what he looks like. Alrighty, until tomorrow morning, we'll call it quits, and we'll see you then. Okay, guys, I've cleaned him up a little bit on what he was. He's pretty good. I've cleaned the valves up a little bit. We're going to test him now. This is the next port of call. I'm not real sure whether I've got to put a shield on this. The oscillator may interfere. And in fact, I will put the shield back on this. I will put the shield on because if it does make any noises, I want it to be the right ones, not an oscillation or not picking up from the oscillator. What I'm going to do is, for safety's sake, and I'll be working on this, is take the pilot lights off. Just unsolder these. Just taking that fella off. And the other thing we have to do here is look at this wire. Cracked.
It's just cracking. It's hard. It's cracking as I move it. Another piece of wire between the two dial lamps down the track. Now, these fellas are 6.3. One is ground. I'm just going to check to make sure one is ground. According to the circuit, yes, it is. And there it is, 0 ohms. And it's not showing any. It should be. Perhaps if I take it off continuity, Bess. Okay. 0.2. And this should read the filament winding on the transformer, which is 1.8, 1.5, 1.4, 1.2. Yep, that's about right. So that is ground. But irrespective, going to get some insulation tape, and for the time being, until we get this radio right, just folding these back. Oh, that's cracking as well. So we'll probably replace these wires down the track. Just grab some insulation tape. And this is just a preventative to stop anything touching, shorting while we're working on the radio. And of course, when I'm on the camera, you'll probably see me looking up into that corner over there, and it's because the computer's there and it's where the monitor is. So I'm not looking into space. I'm just checking the picture to make sure you guys can see what's going on. My aim now is to fire this up, check our HT. I've got some numbers of circuits of what our voltages are. There, that's just out of the road. This HT goes to our speaker transformer. So it's the primary of the speaker tranny. Now, I'm not going to worry too much about making that a permanent fixture at the moment. I will probably, no, I won't solder it for the moment. I'll use alligator clips on this. This will do to test the whole thing with. There. The idea is, don't touch it, don't short it. Now I've noticed a little bit of wax around the bottom of the transformer there. Not real sure whether that's been put there to secure some wiring that actually goes across the bottom, or it's leaked out of the transformer for some sinister reason, like this fella working hard because his grid cap is leaky and it's pushed him into a pretty heavy conduction stage. So ramping up the level needed out of the transformer. But that may not be the case. It could be just a little bit of wax that's leaked out. Another thing with my meter, I've got these beautiful silicon leads. They're marvellous. They're heat proof, so you don't burn them or anything like that with the iron. But they tangle in an instant, and I really don't know why. It's amazing. They just tangle. Now, we do have our power lead here. Now, we'll be using this a little bit. Rather than a death cord, I think I'll turn him over and solder a cord onto the terminals where he goes. I don't want to use a couple of alligator clips on this. It's a continuation of the whole build. There's also no doubt that I'll be using the dim bulb as we go along. And, of course, an isolation transformer over there, Variac back over behind us there. And we'll take him off the switch pot. I think the switch pot is in pretty good order. Not certain of it yet, but I think it is. There. gets rid of that. We'll take him out the back when we get this on here. We'll switch the active. For the moment, just wrap the lead up there. Right, everything's hooked up. I'm monitoring the HT straight from the 6X5, from the cathode, the 6X5. So the other end goes to ground over here. No, he doesn't. The other end of this cap actually goes to the center tap, and that's where our bias originates for the tubes. Now, down here, just trying to get the light right on this one. That's a bit better. So we're monitoring here, B plus, straight off our 6X5, just to see what it is to start with. I have the speaker transformer hooked up to our speaker, our primary transformer wires. The volume control is off at the moment. Turn our dim bulb on, which will give us some numbers on here once I set up. Now, I'm going to start off at 150 volts. We should see some action at 150. That's our HT. We're going to start at 150 volts and see what it comes up to. Bearing in mind, last time we tried this, it didn't want to make any sort of noise or anything. We didn't have any audio. Okay. Dim bulb up here. Watch this fella, because he's the fella I've got number one set in at the moment. There's nothing there. We have no voltage here yet. Hopefully we'll start climbing there shortly. This is, of course, if the switch is okay, which I'm a bit doubtful on that one. I think we have a dirty switch. Turning this off, it's gone back to zero. Well, I'd be a doofus, wouldn't I? I actually don't have the Variac plugged in. Okay, go over here. Variac is now plugged in with a red light on. Gee, Baz. Okay, we have voltage here, 156 volts. We'll put that on 150. There we go. I don't know whether you guys can see that, but it's pretty hard to see. But it is. Oh, that's not the angle. About there is 150. Okay, we'll try all this again, hey? Okay, one take for this video, I'll tell you. Turn him on. Dim bulb. Dimming down. That looks nice. We're drawing 9 watts. Nothing here yet. Things are fairly normal at the moment. And here we go. She's climbing, and away she goes, starting to conduct. So the 6X5 is doing its job. There we go. Climbing, but not very high. Anyway, we'll take him up gently. The cap may be reforming the electrode. Just want to give him time. That's drawing. It's only drawing 7.5 watts there. 150 volts, 149. So we're only on 15 volts. And it seems to be settling. Okay, well, we'll take him up a little bit higher than that. We'll go to 180. And our voltage is climbing, but not very high, guys. 28 volts. Bit sad, isn't it? And we're drawing 10 watts. Maybe the 6X5 is tired. We'll give it a little bit more voltage. We'll go to 200. And we're coming up in voltage. Not climbing anywhere near high enough. Looking at 13 watts there. We're only at 41 volts. Okay, I'm going to see what our AC voltage is on our 6X5. I think would be that one, 191. And the other leg, 191. So, one thing, transformer looks good. It's 191 per side. And 191 there, 191.0, 191.8. So fairly well balanced. Output, which is that fella there, they say we're on 40 volts. Now there could be something dragging it down. So what I'm going to do now is remove our audio valve. The other thing I'll do is test the voltage on our speaker transformer, which we've got 29 and 30. Yes, fairly sad. Okay, so we'll also go into the bigger resistor in there, and it's the same point actually. Yeah, so our HT is down. I would say the 6X5 is very, very low, but then again, filter cap could be dragging down, our output tube could be dragging down. So remove the big tube so that we don't have any high current load. A little bit higher, but certainly not good enough. It's coming up a little bit, maybe as this cap is reforming. What I'm going to do is remove this cap and see. We'll just measure him, see what he is, but of course it's got to be replaced. I haven't put the 6X5 on the valve tester yet. Yeah, I think it's gone through there. I'm going to chop these leads and remove the tails a little bit later on, make it easier to get it out. So he goes on that one there. Okay, we're looking at 30 microfarad, and it's a 350 volt. Now, we'll see what he measures. Still going up, 35, which indicates that it's leaky as well. 36, 39. It's varying around a lot there. We've seen a 40 microfarad. Yeah, so I'd say that cap is very leaky. All right, well, pause the video and I'll go and find a replacement for him. We'll tack him in for the moment and see if our B plus comes up. Put some new solder on here. So he's got to go to here for our bias. That's the negative of the cap. Righto, I'll just tin this fella while I'm here. Go and get a little piece of wire. We'll come back, extend him, put some heat shrink on him, solder him up. Now, normally with this fella, with the bias, I always use blue heat shrink so I know that it's not a negative. It's got voltage on it, even though it's a negative voltage. I'll probably put a little bit of double-sided tape underneath this fella to just hold him in nicely there. That looks okay. I think it's time for another test to see has that improved, or is our 6X5 ready to put on the valve tester and see what he's like. Leave the EL33 out, turn the dim bulb on, turn the radio on. I think our HT is a lot better than what it was. Maybe still not high enough, but we're at 200 volts. A big improvement. But I would say the 6X5 is very weak. Now I'm going to take the variac up to 230, what normally we run on here in Australia. 160, 170, still coming up. There is probably another cap. on the HT, which I think is this fella here. So he could also be causing some dramas. And it's still coming up. So I would say there's possibly this cap that's reforming. He's rated at 525 volts too, one of the early ones. And it's drawing 13 watts, but at least we've got a decent high tension. Well, not decent. It's getting better. Check our speaker transformer, which is 177, 177. So obviously the tranny's okay. Everything's passing through it. Our HT 200 and a 201 still climbing, and I'd nearly guarantee the cap. Now, just as a matter of interest, let's have a look at the circuit, eh? Let's have a look at the circuit. The cap of interest that we're doing there at the moment is this fella, is C110, and that is C110. And it's, where is it? There he is. 30 microfarad, 350 volt. Now, through the resistor to this cap, and this would be that fella there, C53. So C53, where are we? C53 is an electro, is an 8 mic at 350 volts. Don't know why they got a 525 in there, but yeah. But we're looking at this cap now. We'll change him and see we get our HT up to I'd like about 230, 240 out of it anyway. So that'll be the next fella to change. And then we can put in our other tube and then see have we got any noise out of it. Okay, we'll do that. The one to watch here will be this cap here for leakage. I don't want to put any more stress on the EL33, so I might just routine change the coupling cap there. The cap won't be between the red wire for your transformer. So if we look here, that's the cap here, and this is the red wire to the speaker transformer, and the blue wire, the other one, goes to the plate of the valve. So that one there is your plate, comes in here. Now we also want to look at this fella, so which is this one here. Now, if that's leaky or especially shorted, but if that is leaky, there's a problem there. So we'll check him, and as I said, this fella here, so we don't get any excess voltage coming from here going into our grid. We'll do that next. Now here, the electrolytic I'm replacing is a 10 mic 400 volt. Every now and again I look at my mic and realise it's sitting on the bench, not on my shirt. Anyway, them's are the breaks. We'll measure this 0.1, just out of interest of what he is. I think he's fairly leaky. That's very leaky. This could have been a big problem, actually. Ohms. We'll switch him around and see what we've got in ohms. I must build myself a capacitor leakage tester. And yeah, charging very, very slowly. I mean, it's a 0.1. It charges slowly anyway, but yeah, nothing like that. Yeah, he's shot. Very leaky. So I'm glad we changed that one. I'm really pleased we've changed this 8 mic. It's now got a 10 mic 350. Next job will be this fella here, C27. Yes, C27 and C27 is an 01, 0.01600. So 27 goes to 145. So comes off the plate through 145. 145. 145 is a 500k. 500k, which is this fella, 5 BED, body end dot, so 5, 0, and 4 zeros, which is 500,000. EL33, where are we here? EL33, plate 230. Okay, that's what we're looking at. Screen 235, but we're not checking them at the moment. So the HT is 230. 236. So HT's up. All we've done is replaced the electro, and we've got a pretty good voltage there. So now there's every chance that this may fire up. Turn him off. Turn the dim bulb off. Wait for our voltage to dissipate a little bit. Put in our EL33. Back in there if I can find him. Okay, guys, we've got our dim bulb on. So it's live. All we're going to do is switch him on. We're sitting at 231 volts. Not real sure whether you guys can see that just there. And there's our wattage, 0, 2.7 volts on the HT. Let's see what our HT is with our EL33 in. Dim bulb. Nice. Fading out. 15 watts, about normal. HT, we're going up. HT, going up, going up. This is good, but not going up enough. I think the next port of call, I think everything is reasonably good here. I've got to check the resistors, but I think we'll double check the 6X5 now on the valve tester and see what we come up with. I think that's the next thing, and I think he's running rather weak. Okay, we'll pause this and we'll come back. Okay, guys, well, we'll continue with this thing. We've sort of come to a standstill yesterday on trying to work out why there's no audio. I mean, we have replaced a cap here on the EL33 to the grid. There was a little bit of leakage there. I'll check today. I'll check our minus voltage bias to make sure we've got the correct bias there. Now, turn this on. Just glowing, just a little bit, not much there. Okay, HT is coming up there, 300, dropping off as she heads up. Okay, our minus on the tube, -5. That's good. That's good. That's a lot better. So replacing this 0.01 in here has completely fixed the problems. It goes to the IF can, which has got HT on it, which is 200 volts at the moment. Other side, which we had a positive voltage before, and it is -5.14. That's great. That's what we want. Now, so on the 6G8 on the screen, we should have 33 volts. The bias of -1.4. So down here, Got a minus of 0.8. We've got bias happening here, but we've got no screen voltage. We've got plate voltage at 199, which is roughly around right. Something's amiss here. This 6 what is it? A 6G8. 6G8. I'm just going to turn this off and just check this valve. That valve is dead cold. That fella's warm. Rectifier, of course. EL33 is warm. This fella is dead cold. And we have a problem, Houston. I'm looking at the heater. That's the 2 pins on the inside pins. Now, you guys might be able to see this. I'm not. Where are we with this camera? The left-hand side. I don't know whether you can see that or not. Hard to tell. But the left-hand side is burnt, open circuit. One of the little wires that actually goes up to the heater, if we can get a good focus on that, is actually burnt through. Well, okay. This is why the 6J8 is certainly not heating up. Boy, okay, we'll just we'll pause this video for a moment and oh boy, I don't know whether I've got one or not. A 6G8 or a 6B8G. So we'll have a look for a 6G8 or pinch it out of something and see how we go. I found it out of another old Kriesler, actually. I've got here laying around in the workshop, a 6G8, a little bit different to the other one, but same thing. So let's have a look here. I'll put him in. I'll also put the shield on this fella, because surely I won't have two that's... And these things tend to oscillate without that shield on. Or pick up rubbish from the rest of the radio, the oscillator set, etc. We'll see what happens now. You guys can see everything there. I think we're right. Turn him on. Yes, we have a glow of the dim bulb going down. Things are looking right. HT dropping as she warms up. And we've got noise. We have noise. Well, there's a start. Now, voltage is on this fella. What do we got on the plate? We've got 127. We've got -7 there, -7. 6G8 says cathode is ground. We've got a plate voltage. We've got a voltage coming in from the transformer there as a bias negative coming from our resistor network here. And this fellow goes over here. So that's your... And he should have a bit of voltage on him. We have 6G8 plate screen, 83 volts DC on the screen. Why don't we have 83 volts, which would be that resistor there, which the other diagram we just can't read. So 146 screen. Okay, this fella. R8B. So we should have voltage here, R8B. 8AB, which is a 30k resistor here somewhere. So that will be a 30k will be BOD. So it'll be first of all a 3. So it'll be an orange body. Well, it is working. If I touch the aerial there, we do have audio there, and not very loud, but I'm going to go through and check these resistors now. I'm not very happy with the way this is performing. We don't seem to have the correct screen voltage, or the circuit might be different, but I don't think so. This is it is an issue 2, which is different to an issue 1. Maybe could be a little bit different, but anyway, I think we'll check some resistors and we'll go from there. Okay, well, we do have sound anyway, so I won't bore you with the details. If what I find, I will show you then. We'll go through and check some gear. Okay, I've decided to remove the capacitor that's in line with the wiper of the volume control. There's a resistor high, there's a 50k, and he's measuring nearly 80. Just wondering, has he been cooked because of a leaky cap or something like that? So I'm just going to take the cap out and then we'll change the resistor as well. So there he is. That's the resistor. Now that's actually green, black, orange. So it's 5, 0, and 3 zeros. So it's 50k. Looks quite strange on the end of him. A little bit of a bulge in him there. Okay, we'll see what he measures now that he's out. And same. We've got 70k. I'll put a 47k in there, and we'll round up a 005 and put him in there. I'll also clean out a little bit of rubbish out of the valve socket. The capacitor in there was a 005. I was going to put a 00447 in, but I have found a 004. Right, we'll try some voltages. You guys can probably see the wattage there, the voltage and wattage. Voltage is 242. We'll drop that back to 240 exactly. Turn him on. Dim bulb comes up, gradually goes off, and we'll check out our voltage at that point. There is absolutely no voltage, only a slight negative, more or less nothing at the volume controller, which is what we want on the wiper of the volume pot. Okay, so now I think it's only a matter of replacing 1, 2, 3 capacitors. The radio is actually working, and then we can start doing an alignment. Now, I've checked the resistors, I've checked these fellas, which measure okay. I'm going to leave these resistors in. All these check fine. All these check okay. We're not going to replace them. There is no need. They're all within tolerance, well within tolerance. They're very good. So we'll replace this cap here, this fellow, this fellow, this fellow. Okay, we'll do that and we'll come back. I've replaced that one, and the one down here. Now I've checked all the resistors. They're all within tolerance as we discussed. So now I'm just going to see what our voltages are like on each valve to see if it's in a ballpark figure. Now, I'll move this. I'll just move this thing up a little bit for you so you can see the dim bulb. Okay. Right. Turn him on. You will see this lamp. It's a bit hard with the reflection of what's in the background there. But anyway, if you keep an eye on him, you will see him light up. There he is, and dim off. Okay. So we'll go to full power shortly anyway. HT, first of all. 270, 260, 50. We'll give him a little bit of a chance to warm up here. Our tone control. Actually, yeah, a little bit dirty. I haven't played with him yet. Now, that sounds a bit better. Oh, had me worried there for a minute. Thought, oh no, what have I done? Okay, on the ACH35, what have we got here? We've got 235, which will be, of course, on our HT, which is minus 2.2 on the bias. We've got minus 1.4. So 83 and 93 on these two. We've got 73 and 71. It's pretty right. This fellow we got 192. It says 235. So we're still low. We're low on everything. We're low on the B plus coming out of here. We've got 236. Oh no, we're not that low. It should be 235, so we're not doing too bad actually. Anyway, we'll go to the next valve here. We've got a little bit of feedback happening there. Minus 1 there on the valve is actually bias of minus 1. We'll call it minus 1 on the 6G8, and it says minus 1.4. So we're fairly close. Minus 0.6, that's correct on there. HT here, 192. 192. Fair drop there. And all that comes across this resistor that's in here. 192, and on the other side of him is 192. 116. So our audio transformer has 188 on one side, 191 on the other. We're going to bypass. We're now on bypass. 30 watts, 236 volts. Let's see if we've got a little bit more HT. Yes, we have. Over here, still about the same, 71, 81, down there is 225. Okay, minus 1.1. That's pretty good. It's supposed to be minus 1.4, 133 on that fella. So our bias supply is this fella, minus 6.3, and our bias, that's going to our valve, our what is it? EL33, and we have minus 6.35, and in actual fact, the bias there for the EL33 is minus 6.5. So we're very close to the money on that one. I think we can consider this going very well, actually. I think the next thing is the alignment. I'll have to do a little bit of other work because really we can do the IF alignment. We'll do that first, but then the oscillator alignment, the oscillator coil and the trimmer and the shortwave will have to be done with the dial glass on. So we'll sort of do a little bit of work on that. Okay, I'll set it up for a 455 alignment, 455 kilohertz, and we'll have a look at what we can get out of that. Right, guys, I've got a meter set up. I've just loosely coupled my RF Jenny with the just on the grid lead to the ECH35 for this. We don't need much coupling or anything. I don't want to load anything down, so it's just a loose couple. Now I will turn my RF Gen up, and we will see the meter rise, as we can see there. Okay, we'll set him about there, and that's actually pushing in 15 millivolts. But because it's loosely coupled, and I'm using a crow lead actually from the RF Gen at the moment because I'm rearranging my whole workshop. So exciting changes coming. Okay, we'll start with number one. If I can loosen him, I may not be able to with this little fella. Maybe we need this one. Right. There we go. Okay. And we can peek him there. We're on 455 kilohertz, by the way, for this radio. I will peek this one. And he's very close to being peaked. These got a little bit of wax on them. When I'm finished, I just gently heat them, and it just seals them again. Now, we're going to tip him up on his back very gently, and we'll adjust number one under here, and this will go backwards and forwards for a little bit, as you guys would be aware of. Just got to work out where the slot is. There he is. Okay. And I think he's pretty well peaked there. Oh, stay on him. Come on. Yes, he's actually peaked. So not very far out, this little fella. Oh, gee. Very tricky one to get at, this one. Yes, he's peaked there. And this fella here, I'm sure you guys can see that. And away he goes. This fella looks to be a long way out. Now, we'll back our RF Gen off a bit. And he's still going. I should have maybe heated this wax. Oh, there he is. There's our peak. So if we go any further, he comes back down, go back, rock him there. And that's pretty close. Okay, we'll turn him over and do the same procedure again. Please be careful when you're doing this, guys, if you haven't worked on radios before. High voltages all around here. I have taped these up, which go to the transformer, just in case. You never, ever take too many precautions. So now we'll back him off again to about there, and we'll start at number 1 again, the IF transformer number 1, and he's up a little bit there. Actually moving when I just put a little bit of pressure on him. That's pretty close. About in there. This one. I might get a now that they're loose, I'll get my other tool here, and it doesn't have as much effect as my brass tip one. Should be using my ceramic one for this. Pretty close. Pretty close. Do underneath again. Go back to number 1. He's peaked there. And this fella. And we've got a peak there. Once more, for sure measure. You can't do this too many times, guys, to make sure that everything is working 100%. That's it for the IF alignment. It's done. Now the RF. And really, to do the RF alignment, I really need the dial and everything on. So we'll just leave this for the moment. You don't want to listen to that anymore. We'll leave it, and then we'll do the full RF alignment. Okay, and for those wondering about my generator and where it is, we'll just take the camera for a walk and go up there. There he is there. It's a Marconi 2955, and he's just sitting on 455 kilohertz and 1 kilohertz modulation at 30% mod. So, yeah, that's the gen I use for just about everything. For 2 ways, for all my alignments. Great old machine. Works like a dream. Okay, that's it for now. If I can get my camera back down here and back to there. So the next port of call will be cleaning up the dial glass, cleaning up the front, and I guess we will restring the dial cord. Oh, I hate doing those. Okay, we'll take a break and come back as soon as we start the next little bit of it. Bye for now.